Do you know that prejudices can poison even those magical romances? Do you know that no matter how decent a person you are, no matter how much you don't want others to impose their opinions on you, your opinions can change the way you think or how much they can hurt the other person? Alex was about to be tested by the love of his life. Alex Johnson, a handsome but nondescript black man living in Boston on the east coast of the United States, was a 28-year-old high school dropout. In Boston, he supported himself by working as a UPS delivery boy. Alex was well liked by the people around him for being sociable, reliable, and always honest. Despite being part of Boston's culturally diverse and vibrant community, he often faced racism and prejudice. Like every Saturday, Alex met his friends at a cafe after work, but that day he would meet the woman who would change his life. They sat at a table by the window, and Zach, his close friend, said, "We're going to have a new guest today." 5 minutes later, a woman with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and a warm smile sat at their table. This girl was the friend Zach had mentioned, Emily Thompson. She was 26 years old and taught literature at Boston University and was intelligent and open-minded. Alex immediately started talking to Emily, and as they talked, they realized they had a lot in common. They were attracted to each other at first sight. They had long conversations in the cafe, talking about their common interests. Emily was very impressed by Alex's self-confidence in her conversations. Alex had already fallen in love with Emily as soon as she walked in the door. The pleasant conversation they had showed her how right she was. Emily and Alex felt their attraction to each other and started dating. In the first months of their relationship, everything was going very well. They went to the theater, took long walks, and spent a lot of time with each other. Emily introduced Alex to her friends, and they all liked Alex and supported the relationship. Alex felt at peace and happy around Emily. The big void inside her was filled with the warmth of a big heart thanks to Emily. As their relationship was going so well, Emily thought it was time for Alex to meet her family, and she turned to Alex and said, "I am having a wonderful time with you, and being with you makes me happy. I think it's time for you to meet my family." Alex was very pleased to hear this. After all, he thought, people whose daughters were open-minded would have the same thoughts and skin color wouldn't matter. Emily's parents invited Alex to dinner. Alex knocked on the door with a bouquet of flowers and was shocked by the expressions on their faces. Emily's family was rich and well-educated, but being educated didn't necessarily mean having the right mindset. When they opened the door and saw a black person standing there, their smiling faces suddenly fell. "Oh shit," her father blurted out. Alex, out of love for Emily, ignored it and continued to talk with a smiling face. His parents went straight to the dining table without showing him any other room in the house. "Come to the table," he said reluctantly to Alex. Emily kept turning to Alex and saying that she couldn't believe this was happening, that her parents were not normally like this. When they sat down at the table, Emily's father asked Alex what he did for a living and what he did for a living. Alex talked about his life, his hobbies, and what he did. "What do you expect from a black man anyway?" her father said out of the corner of his mouth. Emily quickly interjected, "Alex is a very hardworking and honest person. I'm proud of him," she said. But Emily's parents had already made their opposition to the relationship clear. Margaret and Charles said in unison, "It's not possible for you to be together. We don't approve of it," and left the table. Alex, shocked by this disrespect, left the house. Emily turned to Alex and simply said, "I'm sorry," and saw him out the door. Left alone with her family, Emily found herself under the boring and dominant pressure of her parents. She really couldn't believe what was happening. Normally, they wouldn't do this kind of racism outside. But deep down inside, they hated it and were only racist inside because they didn't want to make a scene. The fact that their own son-in-law was black was absolutely unacceptable to them. As the pressure from the Thompson family increased, Emily and Alex's relationship became increasingly difficult. One day, Emily's mother said to Emily, "Emily, what do you know about Alex's family? Maybe they're not the people you think they are." At first, Emily didn't pay any attention to her mother's suggestion, but then it occurred to her that Alex hardly ever talked about her family. After all, she thought, if there was nothing wrong with a person's family, why would they never tell the person they were in a relationship with? Emily's father was always saying that he had heard rumors about Alex's past and that the relationship could be dangerous for Emily. One day, Charles called Emily to him. "Emily, I have some doubts about Alex's past. I've heard some things about him, and I must share them with you." Her father was trying to confuse Emily by saying unfounded things about Alex just because he didn't approve of the relationship. Even though she didn't want to believe him, the seeds of doubt were already growing inside her. Charles said, "There are rumors that Alex has a history of stealing. We don't want you to be with someone like that." Charles continued his slander. Alex, unaware of Emily's family's slander against him, went on with his life, constantly thinking in his mind that he loved Emily very much and that his family could not stop him. Over time, the doubts in Emily's mind grew, and this began to affect their relationship. One night, Emily told Alex that they needed to talk and asked Alex to his face, "Alex, you can share anything with me. I always have your back, but I need to know. Did you steal in your past?" Alex was shocked. The love of his life, the woman he called his future wife, was asking him if he was a thief. Alex's surprise was gone, replaced by anger. "How can you ask me that? I've never had anything to do with this kind of thing in my life. I even chose the people around me with that in mind," he said. Alex grabbed Emily's shoulders and said, "I am very much in love with you, but I see that you are not with me. I have always been honest with you and your family. I put aside the humiliations I suffered just because I loved you, but that was the end of it." Emily couldn't believe what was coming out of her own mouth. Her mind was free of her family's dirty slanders, and she began to think rationally. "I'm sorry, Alex. I don't know how I could have thought that about you. I ask you to forgive me. I doubted you because of the disgusting pressure from my family," she said. Alex, realizing what had happened, turned around and said, "I'm going to prove your slander wrong, but this is the end of our relationship," and left without looking back. Emily, who had begged Alex not to go after her, began sobbing and hating her parents for what they had done. The next day, a package containing a gold necklace was stolen at UPS, where Alex worked. The company's surveillance cameras showed that Alex was innocent, but Emily's parents tried to use the situation to their advantage. Margaret and Charles said, "We told you Alex was involved in this theft. Not only is he a thief, but he's lying to you to get you to turn against your family." Emily texted Alex after that, saying, "You could have been honest with me. I loved you for who you were," she texted him. Alex couldn't understand what was happening. "She accuses me of stealing, and then instead of apologizing, she texts me accusing me of lying," she thought. She immediately called Emily to find out what was going on. Emily explained the situation and again accused Alex of being a liar and hung up on her. Alex asked the cargo company for the camera recordings. However, he learned that it would take up to a week for them to be delivered because the camera records are kept at the center. In the meantime, he couldn't sleep at night thinking about what a disgusting slander he had been subjected to. He tried to explain himself to Emily, but he couldn't reach her on the phone. She didn't even want to go to their house and face her disgusting parents. Eventually, the CCTV footage would come and she would finally be free of the slander. She waited with bated breath for the recording to arrive. One Thursday evening, after the delivery was over, he saw an envelope for him in the office, and he took a big breath and said, "Finally." Without even looking at what was inside, he drove to Emily's parents' house. He started banging on the door. Charles opened the door and said, "What do you want, you thief?" "I'm here to prove that your slander is a lie," Alex warned. The man tried to shut the door in his face. Alex put his foot on the threshold and called out for Emily. She rushed downstairs and told her father to stand back. "I'm finished," Charles said, his inside suddenly on fire. "Emily, I've had enough of your slander here. I told you I'm not a thief," Alex said, handing the envelope to Emily and walking out the door without a backward glance. Emily looked at her father with fire in her eyes, and without saying a word, she opened the envelope and inserted the USB stick into her computer. When she watched the video, she saw that Alex was innocent and said, "I don't have a father like you anymore," and started running after Alex to catch up with him. As he ran, he kept cursing himself, thinking how stupid he was and how he could believe his parents. "How could I treat this understanding and beautiful man like this?" she cried as she kept running. When she saw the corner, she saw Alex and called out to him, "Please stop. Let me explain myself. I'm so sorry," she was screaming. She called him and texted him and begged for forgiveness. But Alex, despite Emily's best efforts, had no intention of coming back. Emily went to the UPS where Alex worked and tried to talk to her. "Alex, please forgive me. I want to make up for the mistakes I made. I don't want to lose you." Alex took a deep breath and looked at Emily. "Emily, I loved you, but your distrust of me ruined everything. It's not easy to forgive you," she said. Emily said, "I'll do whatever I have to do. Just give me another chance," she begged. Alex thought for a moment and then said, "I need to think about it," and walked away. Emily's tearful look behind Alex's back kept their story in limbo. One evening, Emily waited outside her workplace to see Alex one last time. When Alex came out of work, he saw Emily. In tears, Emily said, "Alex, please forgive me. I want to make up for the mistakes I made. I don't want to lose you." Alex took a deep breath and looked at Emily. "Emily, I loved you so much, but your distrust of me ruined everything. It's not easy to forgive you," she said. Emily said, "I'll do whatever I have to do. Just give me another chance," she begged. Alex thought for a moment and then said, "Give me time to get my head together," and walked away. Emily walked home in the rain in tears. She couldn't sleep at night, thinking about how her parents had manipulated her and how they had caused her to lose Alex. Every moment she remembered the good memories she had with Alex, and a great emptiness filled her. Her anger towards her family was also growing. One morning, she told her mother, Margaret, "I don't want to see you anymore. Because of you, I have lost the love of my life, my future wife," and left the house slamming the door. Emily was determined to do whatever it took to win Alex back. She applied for a job at Alex's favorite cafe, Cafe Latte, and got a part-time job there. In this way, she increased the chances of meeting Alex. Every day, she waited desperately for Alex to walk through the door. Alex, on the other hand, continued his life in a confused and disorganized state. All he did was go from home to work and think about what had happened. He still had a deep love for Emily, but he had lost trust in her. His friends at work were there for him and supported him in this difficult situation. "Alex, you are always an honest person. We know that you understand Emily's mistake and are trying to win you back," they said. Alex had cleared his head a little and decided to go out again with his friends. They went to their regular cafe and were shocked to see Emily as a waitress. When Emily saw Alex, she immediately went to the table and apologized again and again for what had happened. She said it was her parents' fault and that she would do anything to save the relationship. Alex said, "Emily, I really love you very much, but you don't give me the space I need to think. If you really want to save this relationship, you have to give me time and understanding. You can't choose your family, yes, but you can choose the things you do and say. Give me time," she said. Weeks passed and Emily could no longer bear the longing and told Alex she wanted to meet. As if he had been waiting for this message, Alex immediately returned it and wrote, "Meet me tonight at the usual cafe." Emily suddenly felt warm inside. "I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to make up," she said thoughtfully. Remembering the good memories they had, she immediately started to get ready. The questions in Alex's mind were still lingering, but he also thought that Emily was the only medicine that could heal his wound. After all, it was the first time he had ever felt such a deep and sincere love for someone. Despite all his faults, his feet were always moving towards her. In the evening, in front of the cafe, Emily waited for Alex. Alex turned the corner and, unable to contain her joy, she ran to him and hugged his neck. Alex felt the warmth of her broken heart all over her body. She looked at Emily and said, "We have wounds to heal together," and they entered the cafe. Alex was going to put aside all the slander, insults, and humiliation for the sake of his love and heal the worst of the racism and pain he had experienced with his future wife. But the harsh realities of life would always follow him. Sometimes the disgusting looks of the cargo owners he encountered while delivering cargo, sometimes the insinuating looks he encountered in the restaurant he went to, being accused of things he had never done. Now he had two big hearts and a loving home to fight for them. They could stand up to everything and fight